Hello, fellow stampers, and welcome back to Ray's Create Cards. You may remember last week we played with the art gallery set, and we used that 3D brick and mortar embossing folder, which is carrying over to the new catalog, as is art gallery, as are the scallop and contour dies. So a win-win, right? And I briefly mentioned about putting some gold accents in the middle of the flower. So all this past week, every time I've seen this card laying here, it just looked naked to me. So I thought before we get into today's card, I would go ahead and show you exactly what it was that I did on my original card that had been made sometime back with Seaside Spray. So I explained to you that I took this stamp that does the middle of the flower, and I literally put it into the Tombow glue, got it glued up, maybe not quite that much. You don't need a whole lot, just enough. And we're going, even though this has already been put down with dimensionals, I'm just going to go ahead and press that in there. Let that glue kind of have time to kind of grab hold of the paper underneath. And then we're going to lift that off. Now, we can't do anything to it while it's wet, so we're going to put this to the side and let it dry, and then we will come back to it. Let me make sure that as I lay it to the side, it really is to the side and doesn't get anything laid into it. And I'm just going to take my old towel here, wipe off the worst of that glue. And then I will take and scrub that with the toothbrush under running water here later. Let me move my glue mat to make sure that doesn't get in the way. Okay, guys, I got my pre-order Tuesday, and no, I'm not going to bore you with another video on a pre-order unboxing. There are so many of them out there. Just do a search on YouTube for a pre-order unboxing, and most of us all got pretty much the same things. When the annual catalog launches and the demonstrators are able to pre-order, we are limited as to what we can pre-order. Not so much for the mini catalogs and things, but for the big annual catalog, yes, because they have to make sure in this day and age that there is enough for everybody to go around when that catalog goes live, right? But the things that we were able to order were awesome. One of the things that I was able to order was a standalone stamp set called Botanical Layers. Now, I say it is standalone, but it does, you can order some special vellum that they put out to complement this set. And let me grab it and show it to you. I actually ordered 2 packs of these, and I've already opened this one, but I want you to see how pretty this is. Isn't that gorgeous? I can't wait to get into it and use it. We're not going to be using it tonight. What do you think, guys? Isn't that pretty? And so there are several sheets of each design. I think I got that one in there upside down. I had a bunch of this out earlier, and I was kind of playing a little bit. Anyway, you have several sheets of each pattern, and then you have quite a few sheets of plain vellum that you can use alcohol inks on, you can stamp on, you can leave plain. There's just all kinds of things, and yours truly will be playing with this, and I will be showing you some things that you can do with it down the road. But not tonight. We're not going to use that tonight. So tonight, what I really wanted to do was to revisit, you know, I did a video a little while back about Joseph's coat technique, and I used sponge daubers. Well, the new in colors are so drop dead gorgeous. They're beautiful. I'm still loving our current in colors that we will have for another year, but these that they came up with, they are just out of the park. They knocked it out of the park. It's beautiful. So I thought we would revisit that. I have a piece of basic white, thick cardstock that I want to use for this technique tonight. And we are going to be using all 5 new in colors. So the very first one is Sweet Sorbet. It's not a red and it's not a pink. It's more like an intense pink with a titch of red maybe, but it is beautiful in its own right. So we're going to take this color, and again, you know, with Joseph's coat technique, when you first start out, it looks like a hot mess, but it's really not. It's really not that bad. And so we're just going to take and put some color down. Now, I want it rich. I want it really intense. So I'm going to really put that color down. I'm not going to try to be pastel with this at all. Still want that a little darker. Now, out of the 5 in colors, only 4 of them are actually going to go down right here, okay? And I will explain why here in just a little bit. That I really want some intense color. And you see how I've got swirls and things going? Doesn't matter. You're not going to be able to tell in the end. I hope y'all have been having a great week. I hope you have. It's been kind of nice here. We've been getting a lot of rain, but, you know, we have to have the rain for all the new life that is emerging, right? You just do. Come on, put a little bit in this corner. And then I'm going to go back and look and see if I want this a little more intense. Sunday was Palm Sunday, and we had a really, really good service. I hope you did too, wherever you are. And I'm really looking forward to our Easter service this coming Sunday. All of my children are grown and gone. So my grandchildren, most of them live in Texas, so no egg hunts for me this year. However, we are going over to his mom's house, and we're all going to get together and share a good meal and let the kids hide eggs and find eggs Saturday. So that I'm looking forward to that. All right, this is Orchid Oasis. To me, it reminds me of kind of a dark periwinkle. It's got a hint maybe of a purple, but not a whole lot. And again, we're going to go real intense with these colors. And it's fine if they overlap like that. That is not a problem. Like I said, it's going to look like a hot mess until all is said and done. One little bit over here. I really wish instead of this paper underneath, I just had it laying on my silicone mat, because it wouldn't tend to slide around on me. That's okay. I've been playing with this a little bit today. I've been playing with a lot of colors, not just the newest in colors, but quite a few of them. And I have got ink under my fingernails, ink all over my hands. I've got ink all over my brand new ink pads, and it's just means that I've been having fun, been playing. All right. This is Parakeet Party. Those of you who were around when Lemon Lime Twist was around, it will remind you of that color. But I actually like the tone of the Parakeet Party better. I mean, I truly do. I just like it better. And again, I'm wanting to make sure I get some really deep color. I don't want to get into the blue too much with the green or into the red a whole lot. But again, there's going to be a little bit of overlapping, and that's okay. Not a problem. But I'm going to lay a little bit more color down. I'm going to go in here just a little bit where I didn't get it very dark. Okay, you just don't want it to look muddy. And you do want to kind of give a little bit of forethought to the colors that you're putting next to each other. You know, red and blue make purple. Green and blue, not so much. And green and red can really get muddy. So just kind of keep that in mind. And if you forget, it's all right. It's as long as you've got your other basic colors down. And for those of you who remember Tempting Turquoise, but the Tahitian Tide is toned down a little bit from the original Tempting Turquoise, but it's bright, it's beautiful, it's a cheerful color. Aren't all of them pretty? The Sweet Sorbet, the Parakeet Party, the Orchid Oasis, I'm loving it. And I love this Tahitian Tide. So we're going to go in and put big happy colors, as I call it, down here. All right. But yes, I do hope everybody's been having a good week. And if you've lived in an area where you've gotten a lot of rain, just understand, you know, we can't live without water. And I don't think people stop and think about that when they complain, oh, it's raining, oh, it's raining. Yeah, isn't that great? That's a continuation of life, is what that is. So, and it may get us down a little bit. Yours truly has been just a bit frustrated because my flower beds are horrible. I have wild onions and every weed imaginable growing up in them. And it seems like every time I have an off day, it's raining. So tomorrow is Friday. There's not going to be any rain. We actually had a little bit of rain earlier today, and then it went away, and the sun came out. We had blue sky. It's wonderful. No rain tomorrow, which is great. And these are like little areas. I'm going to try to fill that in just a little bit, and it doesn't matter what color I use. Okay, maybe that filled that in just a little bit. Now, when I previously did Joseph's coat, I used the Forever Fern stamp set, and there's a lot more stamps in the Forever Fern than there is in the Botanical layers, but I think we can make it work. So one of the largest stamps is this one, and I kind of want to call that like a mother-in-law plant, or that's what I grew up knowing it as. And before we do that, I want to make real sure that this is good and dry, that there is nothing left damp. And if you decide to try this technique, you know, you might want to err on the side of caution and take your heat gun on the first setting and just gently go over it and make sure that, yes, it is indeed dry. All right, I want to get my embossing buddy. We don't sell these anymore. And again, I've talked about that in a previous video. We don't sell them anymore. And so when my bag is finally used up, I do think I'm going to head over to Rabbit Hole Designs and get their powder tool. It appears to be rated really high. And yes, I did kind of wash my hands about 10-15 minutes before coming in here to do this video. I should have washed them again, and I didn't. So let's see how this comes out. Washing your hands actually makes a huge, huge difference. It truly does when you're going to be heat embossing, because you cannot help but touch that paper to some degree, and the powder can only do so much, right? All right, so I've got that. Got my Versamark pad. I'm going to move my glue bottle before I tump it again. All right. This is a fairly large stamp, so we're just going to go the other way, having the stamp face up. Okay, make sure everything is inked up really well. And there's no rhyme or reason to this. You can tilt them. You can do them any way you want to do them. I thought I would take this one and go straight up the middle to begin with. And you don't want to press real hard, but you want to give light pressure everywhere just to make sure the whole thing transfers. Now you can't see it, but I can see the outline of the image. All right, here is another one, and I'm not sure if those are supposed to be little flowers or just decorative leaves on this stamp. I actually thought about calling Stampin' Up! And asking them what plants these were that were used, just so I would know, and I did not do that. So, but they're so pretty. And we will do some traditional type cards with this set. It's really, really pretty, and I'm loving that vellum. So stay tuned, because we will do something with it. I wanted a little bit more of that on there. Let's maybe come right there. I'm scared to death I'm going to overlap into another image and totally ruin this before it's even done, right? So all of y'all out there that say prayers, say your prayer this comes out well. I don't edit my videos, and I don't, let's see, can I turn that? I don't have a whole lot of room there for that one. And if everything was always perfect, then you would feel even worse when you messed up, right? You really would. And that's not what this is about. It's not about showing perfection. It's about showing techniques and things that you can easily do. Okay, so there is that. Now, there are 3 really small, I don't know if they're supposed to be flower centers. Let me show you the stamp set again. So there is one, and there is one. And then you have like that little splatter. And I thought about maybe trying to find a splatter stamp from another set to kind of help fill in. You do have to be careful when you're using these tiny stamps. If you get that Versamark around the outer edge and you press too hard, you're going to have halos in your final image, and you don't want that. By the same token, you do want to make sure that you're getting a good impression. Okay. And thank goodness Versamark doesn't dry real fast. So you have plenty of time to ink up with Versamark all your different stamps and get them put down. Okay, and I'm going to get my little container here of my clear embossing powder. And very carefully pick this up and hope I'm not into one of the images. Might have been a little bit. Let's just see what we can start to reveal here. Hope I'm in camera. I think I am. So earlier this week I noticed I just didn't have any energy. And yeah, I was having some insomnia issues, but not enough to account for my low energy. And so Tuesday, when I got up, I had a little bit of sinus pressure. And I instantly realized I was probably trying to come down with a sinus infection. Maybe I had a little bit of a sinus infection. I wasn't sure. But I started taking my olive leaf extract, and within about 3 or 4 hours of the first dose, I took it before I went to work Tuesday. I actually took the bottle with me and took a dose on my lunch hour, and then again when I got home, and I was already feeling so much better. My energy level was going up. All right, let me look at that. See if there's any areas. You know, when you're doing this, we all have a habit, and I did too until I learned better, of flicking it. Don't do that. Don't flick it. You're going to knock off way too much powder. And if you washed your hands, and if you did really well with using your embossing buddy, you shouldn't need to do that anyway. You do want some of that on there. Okay, this is one of those videos where it's going to be a little on the loud side. I'm going to turn on my heat gun. I'm right-handed. Let me transfer. I'm going to hold it as far away from the sound from the microphone as I can. I'm going to give this just a couple of minutes. It really doesn't take it long to heat up. When you're doing a video, it seems like it takes forever. And then we're going to get this heat embossed. And I'm hoping that you'll be able to see the magic as it melts that powder. Clear embossing powder is so versatile. There's so much you can do with it. But it's crucial for the Joseph's technique. I don't know if y'all can see. If it's disappearing on you, it's because it is melting it and is now clear and no longer powdery. I wish I knew how to hold this to make sure you could see the magic. But this is so much fun to do. It's really fun. I'll hold it up and see if you guys can see it once I'm done. Going back over just to make sure I didn't miss anything. All right. And you want to look and see if there are any areas that are not shiny that still look powdery. And I'm not, yeah, I don't know, that looks kind of dull right in that area there. Okay, let me, while it's still good and hot, let me hit this one more time. And it could just be the angle of the lighting, but that just didn't look real good right there. Okay, that looks better. And I know y'all have heard the warnings about don't overdo it. You can burn your powder or burn your cardstock, but honestly, I've never took it that far. And why would you? I mean, as soon as it's melted, you stop, right? Yep, that's not hard to figure out. And as you can tell, the cardstock did curve a little bit, but that's okay because we're going to end up gluing it down to a mat when all is said and done, and we won't have to worry about that. Now, I told you that there were 5 new in colors, and I am fixing to use the 5th one, the darkest blue that they introduced, and it's called Starry Sky. Isn't that pretty? Reminds you of Blueberry Bushel, doesn't it? But it's actually darker than what Blueberry Bushel was. And so now I want to make real sure that's all cooled off, that plastic has set. It feels pretty good because I'm going to be raking over this really hard. Almost always when you see somebody show the Joseph's Code of Technique, they use black, like Memento Black. But I am actually going to use a Starry Sky, oops, because it is so intense. Get back in there. Well, let me hold it this way. There we go. And we're just going to rake that over the whole thing. And I'm looking at my background to make sure that I'm getting good, solid background cover. It takes just a second. I gotta laugh because it's almost like, you know, guys, brand new ink pad, and I may be re-inking it before I've even had it a week, right? Especially if I do this too many times. And I'm looking for some uniformity there. I want to make sure that's smooth. Let's see how that's looking. I can see my swipe mark right there. I don't want that in there. All right. If there's a little variation, it's okay. But that just goes to show you, you don't always have to use black. Now, I need a soft cloth, my handy dandy towel that catches all my ink spills. And we're going to buff all the area that was heat embossed with the clear. The powder resists the ink. And because it's like a plastic surface, the ink just rubs right off. All right, guys, what do you think? What do you think of all those pretty new in colors? Isn't that gorgeous? I love it. I love it. And you can do it, and I'm sure you would do an even better job than what I did. All right. So I'm going to give that a little bit of time to kind of make sure that has dried really well. I'm going to set it to the side for just a moment. And let's check on the art gallery. And you saw me put the glue down, and it looks like it's still tacky. Still maybe a little too tacky in places. Let's put that back aside and wait just a little bit longer. And let's go ahead. I pre-cut a piece of Tahitian Tide. It's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And the extra thick basic white that I used was 4 by 5 1/4. Now I can bring my glue back in. Let's get that put on there. This is a messy technique, but honestly, it is so much fun. And as bad and inky as I have gotten with this, just wait until I've been digging and cleaning up my flower beds tomorrow. All right, let's get that popped on there. And you know, honestly, I could have used Parakeet Party. I could have used Orchid Oasis. I could have even used the Sweet Sorbet for the matte. But I always did love the Tempting Turquoise when we had it. And I don't know. That's what I gravitated to. If you decide to try this, you do you. Okay. And let's get that put on our card base. That is extra thick basic white. Normally, I don't mix extra thick basic white with extra thick basic white, but I did this time simply because of all the ink blending and the ink saturation on the cardstock. So, there we go. Let's get this put down. You could absolutely do a smaller piece in the middle. Absolutely. One of the things I tried playing with today, and I wasn't happy with the way I was doing it, was a stitch with Whimsy dies. I actually wanted to incorporate it somehow into this top layer, but it just didn't look right to me, so we're not going to do that. However, the sentiment I used came from Botanical Layers. You mean the world to me. I love that. And so I use the Stitched with Whimsy dies, and I don't know if you can see that detail. Those dies do not cut. All they do is put that whimsical framing all the way around. It's so pretty. And even though yours truly is not a fussy cutter, I did fussy cut around it, okay? And I just used a scrap of basic white cardstock. Then I wasn't sure if I wanted to pop it up on dimensionals or not, and I finally decided I did. And so rather than use dimensionals, I got out my foam adhesive sheets. I tend to forget about these, but y'all know me and how much I preach about making sure any piece you pop up is well supported. So I've pre-cut me a piece to lay on the back of this and kind of turn this. And you don't have to worry with these dies that you're going to be able to see through there, because it doesn't really cut through. It gives the appearance of stitching without the holes. Okay. Now before I peel off the protective layer, trying to figure out where I might want to put the sentiment. I really don't want to cover all that up. I don't want to cover all that up either. All right. Let's put it over here. And I want it about a third of the way up. Oh my heavens. Well, maybe I should have picked a smaller sentiment. Let's put it right here. Let's split the difference. We're going to be covering part of that up, but that's okay. It's all right. I probably should have actually scattered a few more of those flowers in there. But again, if you try this with this set, you do you. Okay, I was just really afraid I was going to mess that up. Now, because this video, and I knew it was going to have a little bit of length to it, I did go ahead and pre-do the inside. And the sentiment that I used came from, here it is, Inspired Thoughts. Okay, it's your time to be remembered, to feel appreciated, and to know you're celebrated. It is in the current catalog, and it's carrying over. I am so happy. That is such a wonderful set for sentiments. So I stamped it in the Starry Sky, and I did this also in the Starry Sky. And then I took the Parakeet Party and just stamped a few leaves, kind of give that a little pop of color since the outside is so colorful. We're going to glue that in. And then we're going to go back and we're going to check Art Gallery card and see if Mr. Tombow has dried all the way. If not, I may have to hit it with the heat gun. Okay, get this a little bit closer to me so I can kind of sort of see what I'm doing. Here we go. All right, guys, it's coming together, and there's a glue booger. I cleaned my glue bottle and everything before I started the video, and yours truly, ooh, you know, I may still have some ink on my hands. Let me see if I can get that off of there real quick. All right, so right now, before I go any further, I'm going to take, I don't like using hand sanitizer. I don't, and I've explained why, but I got so incredibly inky. Let's see if I can make sure I'm not going to transfer anything. I would cry if I ruined it at this point. Well, I probably wouldn't literally cry, but I would not be a happy camper, guys. Okay. All right, so what do you guys think of this? Do you like this? It's really not hard. Yes, it takes a little more time than stamps, ink, and paper. No, it is not something that you are going to want to mass produce, but I hope you've enjoyed revisiting that technique. All right, let's see if this one is dry. It's kind of thick right there. I'm going to hit that with the heat tool for just a minute. And I'm going to do it on the first setting. I don't need to blast it with a lot of heat. I'm not embossing. We just want to make sure that glue is good and dry. So I'm going to do this over here out of camera. Just kind of speed up that process. When Tombow glue dries, it is still tacky, but I got it a little thick in one spot. And I don't want it to come up when we apply the foil. Okay. I think that's going to be okay. Let me give that a second to kind of cool off. That got pretty warm. I gotta tell you, it has been so nice to get to pre-order these things and have them come in and get to play with them. I've just about got all of my catalogs delivered. There may be one or two that haven't been delivered yet. All right, so what I'm using is Deco Foil by iCraft. And this particular foil you can use with glue. You don't have to have a laminator. You get better results with a laminator, honestly, but you don't have to have a laminator. And so the very first time I ever used this, I actually used it with dried Tombow glue, and I was really happy. I was very happy. And so what I'm doing is I am just gently taking my fingernail. I'm not digging in. I'm just going over it. And you may be able to kind of start seeing the outline of that dried glue underneath. I don't know if you can or not. Yeah, there you can a little bit. Okay. And this will just add that little something, something to the card. Because remember, we didn't put bling on there. Oh my heavens, guys. Some of the new bling, well, all of the new bling in the new upcoming catalog is awesome. It's beautiful. I couldn't order all I wanted to. I did order some. So I want to I must not have still had it completely dried because this is kind of resisting my efforts to pull it up more so than it should have. So hang on there. We're going to get this revealed here in a second. Awesome. Ooh, what do you think? What do you think? Do you like it? I love that. Just that little touch. Just that little touch. I think it is gorgeous. I'm loving it. And now I feel like this card is complete and it can go in my stash to give to someone. Yay! All right, let me kind of clean up. I've got my adhesive eraser. Got my scrap here to put in the trash. Still got my hand sanitizer in the way. Okay, I'm going to bring this card back real quick. Let you have one more look at it and see what you think. I think that turned out really well. And I'm loving how that starry sky was deep enough to make a difference without using black. Now, one of the sets that I got even before my pre-order was a Sweet Songbird bundle. And I don't think I got it out to show you. Where did I put it? Oh, there it is. Found it. So here's the Sweet Songbirds. It is a stamp set, photopolymer, and it has a punch that goes with it for punching out the bird, okay? I have really had fun with this, guys. Let me show you a couple of the cards I've done. And yes, we will be doing a video with these. But on this one, I simply took just a hint of balmy blue for the background. I cut a couple of clouds out using that Waves of Inspiration dies, the clouds that are in that set. I stamped in soft suede. I didn't have my new in colors or anything yet, so I used Granny Apple Green, and I used Polished Pink, Fresh Freesia. I used, I believe, Pale Papaya, So Saffron. That one was Pacific Point. And I think I stamped off just a little bit because that's an intense color. I then took some Cajun Craze and used our brick and mortar embossing folder. Took a little bit of our white craft ink, if I can talk, and just with a sponge dauber and just lightly put a little bit over the brick. And I then cut maybe 1/8 of an inch strip or so of black for the top of the wall. And that's how that card came together. And then this one, this was the first one I did. I did the bird in balmy blue. And I fussy cut out the nest, which was no big deal even for me, okay? Again, I used Granny Apple Green for the leaves. I used Crumb Cake for the tree branches. And I used balmy blue. And there is a little bitty flower in this set. Right there it is. And you can see where I did it in the polished pink on this card. And I took the white craft ink, and you don't see a whole lot of it, but I stamped that flower all over the background using the white craft ink. And I hand cut out the welcome. Yes, you have stamps in here that will put the lines for the little sign. And you have, these are actually like the eyeballs. They can either have their eyes shut or have their eyes open. But I also use them, I turned it sideways, and that was the little dots on the sign to simulate where you would have hung the sign, okay? And I don't even remember if I finished these off on the inside. I don't think I did. I left them for the right time and the right sentiment. But it's an adorable, adorable set. It was so easy to work with, so easy to stamp with. What little fussy cutting I did was really easy to do. This bird is out of the out of the punch. I stamped him and I punched him. And when you stamp it, there's a white outline for where his beak goes. And so I just fill that in with, oh, actually the punch punches out the little beak. And the punch also punches out the little extra wings. So an adorable set. I'm in love with it, and we will be making a video with it real soon. Okay, guys. It is Thursday night, 9 o'clock as I am wrapping this up. Yours truly will get this uploaded for you so that you will have it Friday morning. And just enjoy your weekend, guys. Enjoy Easter, and remember why we are celebrating Easter. You know, it's a gift that keeps on giving, and we couldn't do without that gift. And how awesome that we are so loved, that God has so much mercy and so much grace for us, and it's refreshed every day. His forgiveness, I mean, where would we be without it, okay? So if you haven't been to church in a while, get up and go Sunday. I'm betting that you're going to be richly blessed by just getting to go and hearing about that awesome sacrifice that was done for you, every bit as much as it was done for me. He doesn't care what's happened in your life. He doesn't care about the mistakes you've made. He just wants you in his family. And how awesome to be able to give thanks and to rejoice for that wonderful, priceless gift. So y'all enjoy your weekend, and even if it's raining, just remember, it's a blessing. And we will talk to you later. Thank you for being here. I love you all. Bye.